Pro tip, kids. Make sure to save it before you close it. This is take 2. Well, the offseason has arrived in Pennsylvania. For both ends, actually. A quick recap of the game Monday. There's a slow offense. I started late, so did they. Some untimely turnovers. Not that there's ever really a good time to turn the ball over. A few bad calls by the officials. Tell me how the fuck this is not either a block in the back or unnecessary roughness hit to the head and shoulders. Josh Allen ran at 52 yards, which is the second longest rushing touchdown by a quarterback in postseason history. But in the middle of it, he pulled a little bit of a Kenny Pickett, did a fake slide, which caused the defenders to pull up, which then drew a penalty later when Miles Jack decided to hit him regardless of whether or not he was sliding. That one did get called as a penalty. Offense eventually woke up, got it within 7 with a touchdown pass to Calvin Austin III, the forgotten receiver of the team. But ultimately, the healthier Buffalo offense ran roughshod over the slowly deteriorating Pittsburgh defense, with some help from some questionable calls from the officials. Again, not a penalty. The pass rush was pretty weak without TJ, but that's to be expected considering he had 40.9% of the Steelers' sacks this year. And Josh Allen got away from the one Patrick Peterson blitz that was perfectly done, except Patrick doesn't blitz often, so he doesn't have very many sacks. So he did know to hit the quarterback, not go for the ball. The aftermath is a 14-point loss as 10-point underdogs and another early exit from the playoffs. But hey, at least we got to the playoffs, unlike you, Cincinnati, extending the streak to 7 years without a playoff win. So what's next? Well, Brooke Pryor tried to ask that of Mike Tomlin. She's prefaced a question with, Coach Tomlin, you have 1 year left on your contract, in which Coach Tomlin rightfully got up and walked the fuck out. Rumors have been rumbling that he might take a year off, he might step down, he might step away, but he has spoken to the team, but sources have told ESPN that he will be coaching the team next year. At least that's his intention. Whether or not the Rooneys want him to, I think they do. But all that speculating aside, I covered a bit about the future questions for the team and Mike Tomlin previously. But now we go into the offseason with a bit of a glimmer of hope. George Pickens hit 1,000 yards. Deontay Johnson scored more than 0 touchdowns. Pat Freiermuth was effective when he was healthy and able to play. Injuries within the middle of the defense, specifically Cam Hayward, Cole Holcomb. Quan Alexander played well when he was healthy, but he was also injured. Keanu Neal got hurt as well. DeMonte Casey got suspended. Minka missed 2 different batches of games. So we had a whole bunch of who playing the secondary for a while. Patrick Peterson was splitting time between safety and cornerback at the end of the season. That might be his future. What that did mean is it allowed Trenton Thompson to come out of nowhere and allowed Eric Rowe to come off the couch and play some significant time. I think they're both going to be back next year, hopefully. If we can reach a reasonable agreement with Rowe. Thompson's going to be pretty easy to come to agreement with due to his free agency status. Hopefully Cole Holcomb comes back healthy and Miles Jack can go back to the couch, because you could see why he was replaced by Holcomb and Quan and Ellendon Roberts. TJ Watt should win his 2nd Defensive Player of the Year. Here's the stats that show why he should win Defensive Player of the Year. Joey Porter Jr. might earn some Defensive Rookie of the Year votes. He was the best player in our secondary for most of the season, especially since Minka was hurt. Hopefully Trice comes back healthy. You know, we've got some good youth on that side. Hopefully Peterson can come into a role where he is not needed to be covering the speediest receivers, because he has definitely lost a step. And then we get to the interesting question of quarterback. Does Mason come back? I see it going into next year as Kenny comes in as a 1A, Mason comes back as a 1B, and Mitch Trubisky goes into the offseason as a post-June 1st cut. And then we either replace him with another veteran, or we get a couple practice squad guys, potentially even some late-round draft picks. I'll be looking at the draft in the next couple weeks because I don't get to watch any more Steelers football. The other big question I covered in a previous video is who's going to be the offensive coordinator next year. I've thrown my vote in for Byron Leftwich, but as Mike Tomlin likes to say, free agency is free for them and free for us. I can see Leftwich being a name that gets thrown around. He took a year off, maybe studied some offenses, made some tweaks to his. He's also still pretty young, so he could be a potential candidate somewhere else. There's a lot of coaching openings. And then, what's Mike Tomlin's contract going to do? He has 1 year left, which Brooke Pryor brought up, which I've covered previously as well. Normally, the Steelers like to re-sign their coaches with a year left. He didn't do that this year. Is it more of a, okay, you're our guy until you're not? I don't see him getting fired. I don't see him wanting to go anywhere else. He said previously no booster has a checkbook big enough, so I don't think Tomlin's going anywhere unless he wants to. But this will be his 18th year. Maybe it's time to move on. TJ Watt said in a comment that he doesn't want to play for any coach besides Coach Tomlin. He said that during his contract negotiations. You know, that's going to hold a little bit of weight. But then we go into the offseason, and we've got a pretty good core. We need another tackle. Chooks is probably going to get cut, so we need at least a right tackle. I'll be looking at the tackles that are available in the draft. I'll be looking at who's going to be available in free agency once, the season's actually over for everyone. My season's over, but that doesn't mean that the season's actually over. Got 4 more games this week, 2 games next week, and then the Super Bowl week, a couple weeks after that. Yeah, I'll still be watching them. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Brandon, the one who's inspired me to start making these videos, the one who's encouraging me, and the one who's one of the handful of video views that I can actually count on. For you, Brandon, I will not be actively rooting against Baltimore this weekend. You know what a sacrifice it is for me. I'm not saying go Baltimore. I'm not saying go Ravens. I'm saying if they win, I'm not going to be too upset. Yeah, as we go into the offseason, we've got some choices to make. Some validation for myself. A video I made a couple weeks back about potential offseason moves. One of them was a real easy one for me to say. The Steelers are going to cut Allen Robinson II. ESPN released an article that they're updating as the teams get eliminated about what the future holds for the eliminated team. And the big offseason move, the big prediction for the offseason from Aaron Schatz. The Steelers will cut veteran wide receiver Allen Robinson II, who was a disappointment in 2023 with 34 catches for 280 yards. That move can save the Steelers $10 million on the cap in 2024 with just $1.9 in dead money. Hey, look, it's exactly what I said a couple weeks back. So it's validation that some of the things I'm saying are, good ideas, and other people who have, contacts within the business are like, yeah, that's probably going to happen. But yeah, if you like what I'm doing here, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff they tell us to tell you guys. I've got some videos coming. One of them is going to be a rant against someone's comment about quarterback play and how you have to draft early to draft elite. And I just kind of went on a list of all the top 10 picks that flamed out. And here's all the late round picks that have done well. A couple undrafted guys, a couple 6th rounders who prove the point that you don't have to draft early, you just have to draft well. And, obviously we have more offseason predictions to come. There's a lot of draft coverage to go. I love the draft. I love reading scouting reports. I love all of that stuff. So hopefully I can make it somewhat interesting for the handful of people who are going to watch this. But all the Steelers are out of the playoffs, and now we're at a point of, okay, what's next? Saturday we get Houston going to Baltimore. Then we have San Francisco hosting the Packers. The Buccaneers, who eliminated the Eagles and put Travis Kelce into retirement. So there goes that potential center for us. The Tampa Bay goes to Detroit. And just like the NFL wanted, Patrick Mahomes gets to go to Buffalo for his first ever playoff road game. So, I'm not saying anything's rigged. I'm saying sometimes there's an agenda, and sometimes officials are just shit at their job. Like George Pickens said, it's hard to play the Bills and the refs. And he's probably going to get fined for that. And either he took it into consideration, or he'll learn and take it into consideration next time. It's just the cost of doing business sometimes. But all that being said, we'll see what happens this weekend, and we'll see who goes to the conference championships, and then eventually to the Super Bowl, and eventually it's draft time, baby. We'll see what happens. Until next week, see ya.